Rugby pod. Right then, here we go. The finales are done from the weekend of the domestic season. And what a way to finish.
Oof, it certainly was, James. Bath end their title drought and complete the treble. That's the shit treble. It's not the real treble, Bath fans, but congrats on the win. Leinster dominate for their first URC title of this new and current era with the South African teams in, and we'll be unpacking it all with our good mate Dan Bigger.
We certainly will, lads. We've also got the small matter of a Lions tour to start discussing too. That kicks off this week in Dublin.
Attaboy. Yes, it does. It all comes around very quickly. Plus, we've got some pretty huge stories in other news this week as well, haven't we, Rob?
We have.
We have. Good input from you, and I've never seen him this happy. Good to be in the studio, isn't it? I know Biggs was remote, but anyway, you know the drill as always.
Anyway, all that and loads more. This is the Rugby Pod, so settle back, peel back. Enjoy and make sure you've subscribed on Spotify.
This episode is presented by Sky Sports on Now.
So, the British and Irish Lions are on tour, James.
They certainly are, Andrew. And if the millions of Rugby Pod listeners want to watch the action, then Sky Sports is the only place to do it. All 3 test matches and every single minute of the 6 warm-up games, live from the 20th of June to the 2nd of August.
And by streaming Sky Sports with Now, they can add or remove memberships whenever they like.
Oh, lovely stuff.
18 plus, UK only. Minimum speed 2.5 megabytes per second. Live scheduling may be subject to change and full terms apply.
Well, happy Father's Day, lads. Were we all spoilt this weekend? There's a couple of sunburns, a couple of vulnerable looks about the shop.
There is. Can we just set the scene a little bit? Because, like, you're going based on sunburn. I'm not burnt. Biggs looks burnt. If you look at the comments as well on social media around the stuff that we do, people think he's burnt. Goodey's always burnt. We've got producer Ben, who is meant to upload content at the weekend, but he's forgot because he's been... Where he been in Colombia? Just nod. He's got Colombia written on his t-shirt. I don't know what you've been doing in Colombia, but there was no posting on social media. But it was Father's Day. It was a day for the men. It was a day for us. And that is... It's nice to have a day for us. I mean, it weren't that relaxing for me.
Did you do much? What did you do?
Well, we came back from Ireland for a gig. A big shout out to
Tralee Rugby Club
with the great Andrew Brace. So I fired a few shots over there as well. So I had a bit of a Father's Day, I suppose, with the lads. Men need men and all that. And then I got home to my daughter's 12th birthday. So there was a bit of silent disco.
Did you put the beats on as well? Who's the DJ? Did you get Haskell there?
No, we didn't. No. We levelled up. We got the lady called Sheila, who's 95, so we levelled up on Haskell as well. But yeah, no, it was good. I'm a big fan of Father's Day, as you know. So a big, like you said, Rob, a big happy Father's Day for all you great men who just keep showing up.
Any good presents, boys?
No.
No.
My Mrs. Biggs, if we haven't spoken about it before, is shocking. You know what she bought me? Drum roll. Okay, there you go. Drum roll done. She bought me a book on indoor plants.
For what? For Father's Day?
For Father's Day.
Oh, that beats me. I got a load of chocolate and some socks.
Yeah, I got socks. My Mrs. Bigger did quite well this year. I got socks and I got a new pair of Ugg slippers, which was a very good gift.
That'd be good in 34 degrees.
You might be coming back to Wales.
She tried selling it to me as, you know, like the wool and the thing inside the slippers.
Yeah.
It's supposed to counteract if it's hot or cold as well, but I'm not quite sure I'm having that.
Nice.
Right, even though I got a plant book, I saw Rob's social media and... You think Centre Parks is bad, and you never know. We might be sponsored by Centre Parks in the future, and I will not be here if that is the case, because it is that bad. Rob took the camper van out. Is that a foreign camper van as well? Is that a left-hand drive? You gone cheap on it? Is it an import?
No, it's a right-hand drive. Yeah.
So you took the whole family out in a camper van?
Yeah.
For the weekend?
I don't think you got to say.
Oh, you got told
No,
you've got to?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day. You're taking us out in the camper van all weekend.
Exactly, yeah. To a farm in the middle of nowhere in Durham.
Oh,
How was it?
Good.
How was it?
Yeah, good.
Was it good?
It was definitely better than going and watching the Prem final, yeah, which I had tickets for and I didn't mind missing.
Did you sleep in the camper van?
Yes.
He'd fit in it though.
All four of you?
Yeah. Kids
Really?
in the top bit.
Oh,
And
that
we're
is
on
hell on earth. Like, who's getting
What was
ill?
the weather
Making
like, Rob?
memories. What was the weather like?
What was
It
the weather like, Rob?
Thunderstorm.
Oh,
That was
my
good.
Of course
God,
it
you've
was.
had a
Yeah.
mate.
I
You've had a
mean,
mate.
anyone who goes camping up north in the UK, it's you don't see the sun.
No.
Happy Father's Day, Rob. Does your wife call you Rob? Does Jess call you Rob? Yeah.
Robert, I think he gets called Robert at home.
Yeah.
You're a Robert when you're in trouble.
Happy Father's Day. Get driving in that thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Drive us home.
Well, we've got to give a shout out to Charlie Rugby Club, haven't we, for the dinner on Friday over in Ireland.
Have you been to the west of Ireland? I thought is it south or southwest?
No, it's very west.
Biggs, you been
It's
there?
a bit of southwest.
I mean, I've played. Where would it? I've been in Galway and played there a few times.
Yeah, it's like Galway,
I'm not quite sure.
Cork.
I haven't done many of the circuits around there, boys.
This
yet.
is what I mean.
Yeah.
Not many have.
No.
I've never been there.
I loved it.
It was absolute. It felt like going back 30 years.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely amazing. Not a bush, I imagine, without stereotyping,
Yeah.
but what a lovely place. And we were with the great Andrew Brace, who
Yeah.
organised the event. What a dude.
Yeah, he's a good man, Bracey. I've been saying that for a while now, haven't I?
But you've been saying a lot of things, Andrew. You've been saying a lot of things. So,
And I can't tell you what me and Bracey got up to the other week because his wife listens.
Can I just give one last thing, talking about Father's Day for the weekend as well, if I may? And I know that your missus doesn't listen to the show. So I leave at what I thought was like late for me. I left at 1 o'clock in the morning, but I had a good night. Needed to get up early to travel back. Naturally get up in the morning. Okay, what messages have I got? Because might be one from Beck early if she's up in the morning with the kids. No, the great Andrew Good. I've got a missed call at 6 in the morning and I've got voice notes at half 5 in the morning. He is flying from Cork Airport, which is 2 hours from the event that we were in at 7:30 that day.
Just to get back for sports day for the kids. What a good dad.
Didn't go to sleep.
The end.
Didn't go to sleep is all I'm saying. But anyway, yeah, we got back just in time. Well, I got back just in time to watch the Prem final, Rob.
What do you reckon?
Where do we start? Should we start with the before?
The anthem.
Should we start with
The
the
anthem.
Yeah,
God.
the anthem.
Yes, sir.
Because we are massively going to disagree on this. Because either Jim Hamilton is trolling people trying to get nibbles on social media, or he's a buffoon. I don't know which one it is. James, the anthem. I know what you're going to say.
Right, let's go around the table and then I'll give my view on it because I think a lot of people think I just, like you said, just throw it out there.
Well, here's the other thing. Before the anthem as well, they changed how the teams came out. Here is your captain. So the captains come out. Here is the Bath forward pack. What?
They said in American, did they?
Well, it sounded that way. I mean, they're trying to Americanise everything, but rugby ain't taking off in America, is it? So why are we doing it? But they came out, so the captains come out, and then supposedly the forward pack, and all the lads are like, what's going on here? Just running out, no one really knows. And then you get to the anthem. Oh, my shambles.
So you're a no. Ben, give us a nod. Ben's a thumbs down. Biggs.
I thought it was a tough watch, if I'm honest. Yeah.
Good.
2 thumbs down.
You are all old school. And I'm not just saying it, and it isn't all about me, and we'll have this discussion, right? I absolutely loved it. It was like cringe. It
There
was
you go. That's all you need to
different.
say. It was
But
cringe.
I smiled. So we're talking about the fact that we're even talking about it. You're telling me that when Sam Fender was rocking out the guitar there, I mean,
That wasn't Sam Fender. That was the...
So who was it? I thought it was Sam Fender. We've had to edit that bit out. who was it?
Sam Ryder.
And who's he then?
He was on Eurovision.
Okay, so here we go. So I'm only going based on him playing the guitar in the stadium at Allianz. I thought, one, he played the guitar very well. He looked different. And people are like, oh, you should have seen Coley and Carl Dickey Bird's face. I ain't referencing. I'm not taking reference points if something's cool or good. If Dan Cole is looking at it, shaking his head.
Yeah.
But
But it didn't look cool or good.
the anthem's boring anyway. Like, it's a boring anthem.
Okay, would you have would you have him, bearing in mind his background was Eurovision, and I think he got nil point. And Eurovision...
It's always political. It's always
not political. Our shit's Eurovision now, by the way. Would you have him doing the Flower of Scotland?
That's iconic.
There we go.
We've got an instrument. We have an
There we
instrument.
go.
It's a bagpipe. I thought it was good.
No, mate, you're about the only person.
It felt like, like they've gone for the rebrand of the Prem next year, isn't it? I mean, everyone kind of calls it the Prem anyway, sort of thing. But like, it felt like, it felt a little bit try hard. I felt. I think that what's been really good about, especially the previous weekend of the semi-final, especially that Bath Bristol game, was just how traditional and how classic it was. You know what I mean, in terms of the supporters, the old school stadiums, etc. And I felt like that was a little bit too much the other way. I don't know what you guys
Can
think.
I just give my point on this, right? And the fact that we have even opened the show talking about it, and I don't know what the viewing figures are on it or the social. So good or bad or whatever, and I know that in the comments people are always getting on to me about the NFL and American sports. So I'm not going to apologise for it, but more people probably talk about the stuff that lives around the show than they do the game itself, because we will get into the game. It weren't a great game of rugby, but everything around it, and look, the rebrand and the music and the fireworks and the fact that there was some of it was quite comical. Here we go. So we're talking about it. Divides opinion.
We're going to talk about it anyway.
But it's
the rugby pod. It's the Premiership final.
Driving conversation. Do you know what I mean? And then it's like, right, okay, if not that, then this. And we'll look back in 3 years' time and say, do you remember when we saw Sam Ryder doing that? That was shit compared to having Kid Rock on stage doing it.
My thing is, you're not gonna, with that going on there, that's not gonna. What's the whole purpose of it? To make it cool and young audience, etc. But my thing is, they've sold out all the tickets to the Prem final. Everyone's covering the game. Everyone's going to be speaking about the game anyway. What was the purpose of that? For me, I'm with Goodey and the lads on that. I felt like it was just very
gimmicky.
I don't know, it felt gimmicky, and it felt out of place, I have to say. And I think like the whole idea is why you want to jazz things up, why you want to make things really difficult, is to drive maybe more ticket sales, to drive, I don't know, more whatever. But like, I just felt like you've already sold the game out. Everyone's eyes are on the Premiership final that weekend anyway. Like, why not just stick to something that works? I just felt like it was a bit try hard on the whole day, I have to say. I didn't like the teams coming out.
Yeah, the argument around it, a lot of people are kind of saying, why do you need the national anthem before the Premiership final anyway? And they've done it for a few years. But then you see it, you compare the NFL, they do the US anthem, don't they, before games and all that stuff. And it's all, that got a little bit politicised as well, with people taking the knee or whatever. So people, first and foremost, are like, why are you doing it? It's a Premiership final, it's not an international. But then it's there. But then two, absolutely butchering it. Do you remember in the World Cup in 23?
The
kids were butchering, and it's not the kids' fault. It's whoever thought of this idea. So I'm not going after the kids. But it was, and I said it on air, and you were like, "Why are you being so harsh?" I'm like, "I'm not. He's just butchering national anthems left, right, and centre." So you don't necessarily need to recreate something that you think, "Oh, this would be really cool." And there's a reason they got him and not some big time musician, because he got Neil Point at Eurovision. And obviously, because it's sold out, they don't sell more tickets, so he's cheap. I loved it. That's the thing. I thought it was an absolute shambles, but, we're all here to disagree and agree on certain things, right?
What did we think of the actual game itself then?
Well, I'll say,
Carl Dixon,
and both of you have mentioned it there. I thought it was all right, Andrew.
Yeah.
The traditional element to it, and the fact that it was sold out, and the rich history between the two teams, it was... and the weather, it built up to be a brilliant final. The game itself doesn't always live up to that, and we saw Bath, I don't know whether they kicked more than they ever have, but they kicked the leather off it. But from an atmosphere point of view, it was, you couldn't have probably asked for any more. I thought it was really cool to see. Yeah,
the atmosphere wasn't great, because the atmosphere comes with games though, right? And probably everyone's like still going, what the fuck was that electric guitar about? But atmosphere, like it was a stop-start game with loads of knock-ons from Bath. It was bitty. It was like neither team wanted to lose without going and really dominating, and except for Finn doing what Finn does. But yeah, it was cagey. It was not a great spectacle. There was interventions, and obviously there's some major talking points around Dan Cole's yellow card. Carl Dixon, how he handled certain things. And I said Carl Dixon, I actually thought Dicko was all right. He was just the same for both teams. He's got the yellow card wrong, in my opinion. It is a penalty. But the bottom line is, in the game, Bath have been the best team all year, right? Both sides of the ball, attacking, defence, in terms of stats and everything that goes with it. And they were the better team on the day, so they deserved to win. And there's been a fair bit of moaning from people on the Leicester side of things around the referee. I thought Dicko was all right. He's got the yellow card wrong, but did it have an effect on the final result? You could argue yes or no, but Coley's put himself in that position. Have you ever, and everyone's like, oh, it's his last ever game, it doesn't matter. But when have you ever seen Dan Cole try and charge an up and under down when Finn's, or the fly half, or whoever it is, has received the ball from a long kick? It's a penalty. It ain't a yellow card, but that's not what won the game, right? Bath were the better team. Finn controlled things. Obviously, he won the battle with Andre Pollard that we spoke about last week. Andre Pollard misses one kick. I don't think Finn missed any. He gets the intercept as well. and it was sort of fine margins. It was an average watch with so much on the line. It looked like two nervous teams. Bath were a nervous team to get the big trophy. Yes, they've won the other two this year. And Leicester, I think Leicester will be frustrated because they didn't really, like, they had the power game at times, but their attack was so blunt, wasn't it? Which, you know, and you go to the last bit where Ben Youngs has kicked the ball away twice when you're 2 points down and you need to go after it. It was just a frustrating day for Leicester, but credit to Bath.
Do you know how many red zone entries Leicester had in the whole game?
Probably about 5, 4.
4.
Yeah.
So you know it's and it's amazing that they managed to probably keep in, and the score was only 23-21, considering that you've only had 4 entries in a final, and you're never going to score and come away with points on every entry. But it's a difficult match to win if you're only going to get into that scoring zone 4 times, especially the way Leicester play. I thought Leicester actually, in a sense, dragged Bath into a bit of a cagey affair and into a bit of a scrap and a kick-in tactical battle, which probably. And we saw that didn't really suit Bath in a sense. They wanted to be on the front foot, and they had a bit too much for Leicester in general play, didn't they? They were the better team. They have been all year, as you said, Goodey. But I think where it was won and lost for me, and when in finals and big games, I think you tend to need your big players to step up, and I think Bath's big players stepped up, and Leicester's probably, or certainly didn't step up as much, or they were on the losing side of those individual battles.
Yeah.
You look at, say, Russell and Pollard, you've mentioned that already, and far from any of us to tell a 2-time double champ World Cup champion how to play in big games, but gives the interception, misses a kick, probably doesn't have the influence on the game that Finn had. Finn picks up the interception, kicks his goals, passing game exceptional, etc. You look at Freddie Stewart. I mean, I've never seen Freddie Stewart not collect as many high balls as that in a game, and I thought de Glanville was excellent on the other side of the field for Bath. I thought Spencer was excellent. And then you look at probably the big incident that you mentioned at the end, someone who is a big player for Leicester, who has been for so many years. I think it was an absolute madness decision for a yellow card, but there's no doubt it's a penalty. And at that point in the game, that allowed Bath to go 8 points up and be able to control the game. So for me, that's where the game was won and lost. I thought Bath's players or big players stepped up and outplayed Leicester's big players in those big moments.
I don't think I've seen Bath kick as well in terms of return for investment, if you like, with Ben Spencer and Will Muir. Some of his aerial skill,
the horse
against Freddie Stewart, who we've said all year is the best
in the world,
player
or up there
in the world. Under that, and I've never seen him look so vulnerable. I couldn't work out, Biggs, maybe you, because you're playing, how have they managed to target Freddie Stewart, right, knowing that he's the very best in that position, and be able to get the returns on that? Because that, as we know, you specifically, when you've banged them bombs up there as well, Goodey and Biggs, that regathering them balls, it's not an easy skill to do. You've got to be incredibly brave, right?
The rules have clearly helped the attacking side in terms of not being allowed to shadow players and protect the catcher, etc., etc. So that was clearly a strength, and how England and Leicester, when they were really successful, sort of protected Freddie Stewart and allowed him a clean catch. So that's different. Will Muir is, first of all, he's a heck of an athlete, ridiculously quick and strong and brave in the air, which is, for me, it's 99% about being brave in the air. You could be quick and strong. I've seen so many players who are good in terms of quick and athletes, but don't have the attitude or the bravery to get up in the air. I tell you what, Alex Cuthbert was one of the best at it. Far from being an absolute perfect rugby player, but would chase kicks all day and get up and be brave. And I think that goes back to the quality of the kicking game. But I thought Ben Spencer was magnificent in terms of, I can't think of many of his kicks on Saturday, from probably throughout the season, where they haven't been on the money, given Will Muir a chance to get a one-on-one, a clean run through and contest the ball rather than it being a yard or two too far. And I think that's been the big thing. I think Ben Spencer has, do you know what? I don't know. I'll ask you guys a question, but how good has Ben Spencer been for Finn Russell as well?
Yeah, very good.
In terms of like, it's almost a little bit, Ben Spencer's been there, done it in those big moments, big games, won bucket loads of trophies at his times in Sarries, knows how to get over the line in big games, and has just taken a fair ton of pressure off Finn and allowed Finn to just, fizz those passes, little kicks, little moments of brilliance, and they've complemented each other so well this year, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. And the big thing around yeah, that balance is really nice, and yeah, they've both got a decent kicking game. But Ben Spencer's got to be up there with one of the best and most accurate box kickers in the world. But ultimately, going back to it, and the difference between Freddie Stewart being put under pressure, it's a lot around the mechanics of how the laws have changed. And so, and Biggs alluded to it a little bit there, where you're saying the chasers who are chasing, so Will Muir's chasing Ben Spencer's kick, he doesn't have to catch the ball. He just has to get in the zone and get the tap back because all his team are rushing towards it, right? Whereas Freddie Stewart coming defensively, he has to try and catch the ball because if he slaps it back, there's no one else behind him. So ultimately, it's advantage to the chasing team as opposed to the receiving team. And then on top of that, you've got Ben Spencer's accuracy and how it works. So Will Muir gets up a lot and just gets hands. And we said it last week, didn't we? He's a 6'4", known as the horse. It didn't make the edit, but apparently the lads at Gisborne Rugby Club say he's known as the horse by he's hung like a squirrel. But he used everything he's got. And the one sad thing for Guy Pepper, by the way, have Bath paid Newcastle yet for that? We need to find out.
They don't need to.
There we go. Okay. Was the wonder try that he scored in the corner gets called back from Will Muir just losing control of the ball from one of those occasions on the deck. But Will Muir, you've got two 6'4", 6'5" athletes going after each other. It's advantage Will Muir because he just has to get his hands in and tap it back all the time.
Do you know what? You make a really good point there, Goodey, because when you are kicking with the new laws and things now, and when you're chasing, a lot of the time, like you mentioned, your fullback is looking to catch the ball with two hands and protect it and be a lot cleaner and set the ruck up and kick back, etc. Whereas when you're attacking, a lot of wingers now are going with it one hand, which means you're going to have more height in your jump in with one hand than if you jump in with two hands. So that's been a huge advantage in what Bath have played on because you're allowed free runs into it. He's been brilliant at that, which, law of physics means you can get higher with one hand jumping and slapping it back compared to trying to catch it with two.
But then you compare things as well. So we talk about how great Ben Spencer's was. Then you go to the last minute of the game when Ben Youngs puts a box kick up and it's 2 yards too far, and then Bath just secure the ball, go through a couple of phases, Finn kicks it out, champions. And we'll get onto around why he kicked it, but it just shows how important the actual box kick from the 9 is. So it is a kick to compete. And Ben Spencer, he's been the best at it, probably since Richard Wigglesworth retired, but he was his mentor, wasn't he? So he learnt from a good one.
He's got a lot of stick online, hasn't he, Youngs, for kicking the ball away at the end?
Yeah, he did. And we've got to be careful what we say because obviously it's Young's last ever game. But in reality, if you're looking at any other game, any other player, everyone's saying, why have you kicked it away? And I heard something that Youngsy said about there was a Bath player that dived over the ruck and at any other point that's a penalty. Well, I'll look back at the clip and it was after the ball came loose from Barbary and there's a Bath player, I think it's Will Stewart, who goes to dive on the ball. But I think Cam Henderson does exactly the same thing. Cam Henderson wins the race to the ball. And then Ben Youngs tries to get the ball out and he gets sort of he falls over his own feet or whatever. And then they go to a kick. But the problem is, and to me, it was symptomatic of the whole game around Leicester, the energy in attack and how the game ebbed and flowed and how it all evolved. Surely you've got to know that 2 minutes to go, you're 2 points down. Just keep hold of the ball, have a dig. Someone work hard. You've got Kata, you've got Parisi on the pitch. Yeah, you've got Freddie Stewart. These are big units that you can get the ball into a channel and have a go. And kind of like, I wonder now, they're like, oh, do we die wondering of should we have kicked it? Whereas if you have a crack and you look after the ball and you're trying to win a penalty from someone, coming in on the angle at a breakdown or a tackler not rolling away, then you get to kick the ball down into the opposition half and you're in possession, so you're in control. Where I know he's gone because it looked like a dead situation, so he's slowed it down, gone to the box kick in a hope that you're going to get a 50-50 ball back from a kick to compete. Whereas if you're trying to play and there's two lads stood on the touchline, you've got to just have energy and desire. And they had desire all game, and Czech said he was proud of it all, but ultimately, you just got to have the willpower to. You're 2 points down the final with 2 minutes to go. Go and fucking try and win it.
But I think he's in a tough position there because what is he, 25 metres out from his own goal line? It's like a slow ruck, 2 minutes to go. I mean, we've just said it now. Leicester's attack looked blunt as anything. They didn't look like they were really going to be able to score from 70, 80 metres.
Yeah, my point on that, though, is if you're going and trying to play with the ball, you might win a penalty and then you get to kick it down into the opposition half and launch from a line out. Whereas if you kick the ball away, you're like, at best, you're hoping for a 50-50.
My issue would be we just said how brilliant Will Muir was at chasing and getting up and being contestable. I'm not quite sure who's on the right wing there for Leicester, but there was no contest. Just waited for Bath to catch it, and then all of a sudden it obviously looks even worse of a decision to kick it. All of a sudden Leicester catch that, win a penalty there, kick to the corner, or kick a long range penalty, and everyone's saying what a brilliant decision. It's so based on what happens, and in that moment, I have to say it's a really difficult position because he's a key decision maker and he's going to get criticised whatever he does. If they play the ball for 3 or 4 phases, get turned over under the sticks, then his whole forward pack or his whole team or Leicester fans are saying, well, why didn't we kick to compete?
No, I don't think so. No one's going to say that though. With a minute to go, no one's going to say why didn't you kick it away?
Only non-rugby people are going to say that.
I don't know. I've never been in a team where we're 2 points down with a minute to go and someone said, fuck, why didn't we kick it? When you're trying to win a game. It
was about 2 minutes ago, wasn't it? Just a minute and a half or so to go. I don't think it's as clear cut as everybody thinks. I think it's a tough decision for Ben in that position, and I'd be more annoyed at my chaser for not getting up because it makes the kick look even more average. And the decision now is we're all talking about it now because of what happened off the back of it.
I mean, it's not won and lost in the game. It's just a consequence of how the game panned out, right? And yeah, it's a sad way for those lads to end, but as you know in sport, you can bring emotion, but not many people get to write their own sort of finale. And Coley, he spent his last minutes as a professional rugby player in the sin bin.
All I know is Geoffrey Bungle was the only kick chaser for Scotland back in the day, and we used to kick the ball in the air like fucking no one had a clue. So I can't judge any man.
But Carl Dixon did miss a mega sealing off with like 2 breakdowns to go at the end after they got that kick back. So. Anyway, that's just me just stirring the pot a bit. But Bath thoroughly deserved to win. And what about the scenes?
Yeah, here's one thing I wanted to ask actually, because the question around the new era for Bath dominance, and that's, you know what, there's a couple of things on this. I don't like that question being asked straight after the game. Because let them enjoy it. You can't, they're talking about a dynasty and stuff like that. I mean,
you just say hope so, but
yeah,
I mean, silly question.
I just don't agree with that. I know it's about like what is next and all of these things. Like, I would have asked the question, having been there before, why all the emotion? I've never seen a team of players in rugby, and it's good to see men cry, as many men, both the players and the coaches, crying. And I was trying to work out.
You mean from Bath?
From Bath, and that's not
29 years.
I'm not saying it in a derogatory way. I'm not trying to say taking the piss. But I don't remember, like when I won, there was the odd one that would cry, and if you lost, you felt emotional and stuff like that. But there was like genuine, like proper crying from it. And I'm like, was that because of the pressure of last year and the desperation in that game, and that they've made 45 Premiership winning caps that had to be worn, and the fact that they all put the goggles in their bag? Or was it the fact that you've got a team that is so rich in rugby history that haven't won it in 29 years, and the expectation, is it the fact that they lost last year and came so close? And there was I thought it was cool, but I just thought it was like there was a lot of emotion after. And I've been in teams where we've won the Premiership and we've won the Champions Cup where you're emotional, you're enjoying it, but it just seemed like a group of desperate men. I'm not saying it in a bad way.
No,
but
and that's a good thing. It's a hard thing to get a group of desperate men that care so much, and maybe that's what it means to the club in terms of what Bruce Craig's done. You see him going around. He's got a dinner suit on, hasn't he?
He's got a dinner suit. How hard did he hold on to Finn though? Everyone, like, he's there high-fiving like the odd lads coming through, and he sees Finn and he's like, how many Hoovers do you want?
But yeah, I mean, obviously, and Van Graan, he's on his knees hugging his book and having a pray and all that stuff, and emotional. And listen, unless you've been in that situation and they've had her along the way, they finished bottom of the league 3 years ago, right? And Van Graan takes over, and they talk about the families and everything. It's hard from the outside because we've all been in different environments. Your Saracens environment was a very successful environment, right, in winning trophies. And it seemed from the outside that they cared a massive amount about all the families. But there was fractions in that as well, wasn't there? It wasn't always plain sailing. And we've been in Leicester teams where we've had loads of success. And actually, probably the very first one you win is the biggest one. And then you just become a little bit used to it, don't you? And that's the very first proper big trophy that Bath's run. Ultimately, last year losing it in the final in the manner they did, with Beno Urbano getting sent off. This year, you see just before Thomas Dutoy's try, Thomas Dutoy doesn't score that try without Ben Urbano sitting down, cracking, I think, and making 5, 6, 7 extra metres right by the try line. So it's things like that build you up. And then, oh my Alfie Barbary, what are you thinking, lad, doing it in your Speedos with your black shoes on, your white socks and your belly hanging out?
Feet must be in bits, that's all I
The scenes were great though, weren't they? Like, we're Leicester lads, having played there for 10 years, and Jim, you were there. How many years were you there? 7? Yeah. And I wanted Leicester to win, but the fact that 6 different Premiership clubs have won it in the last 6 years, and Bath have got the monkey off their back, 29 years of hurt, and the scenes, and we talked about it last year, didn't we, when Northampton won the Premiership and how good those scenes were in Northampton Town Centre. In Bath, it was equally as good, and there's a few of the young whippersnappers just carrying bottles of champagne. Whereas the old school, like Tom Dunn's got a Thatcher's. I was like, that's the difference. The lads in the back. The backs have got the champers, and Donny looking hanging, but fair play to him, has got the Thatcher's gold.
How much credit does Johan van Graad deserve for this? Because I'm a big believer in that. Like, just because, yes, Bath probably spend the most, Bath have got the best players, best team, etc., etc. But for me, I'm a firm believer in the better player you are, the better coach you need. And the better players you have, you need better coaches to develop them every day. And he's turned the place around since coming in, hasn't he?
Oh, brilliant. Simple as that. And without jumping the gun, and there's me rinsing the questions about dynasties, I think you look at the next South African coach. Like, I feel as if you've got a coach that...
Oh, what next for Johan van Graam? You didn't want to talk about it, but South Africa.
Exactly. What does the dynasty look like? What's Johan doing? I said, maybe I'm just one of those. Maybe I am just naturally one of those. Biggs, you're 100% right. Yeah. The way he conducts himself, the way
always very calm, isn't he?
Always calm. And look, because of where the game is and like how the game's trying to develop, I know that Johan's been asking questions about not just what's going on the field, but the development of rugby at Bath, like the content, the social media, the growing of the brand of the club itself, because there's so much that goes into that mix. There's a lot now, isn't there, for the coaches? Like, it's week on week on week. It's a tough job. And what he's done is absolutely brilliant. Not just for what he's done this season, to bring that team back from losing in the final last year. And I know we're talking about the treble or whatever it is. The Challenge Cup isn't an easy cup to win in a congested season either. And to lose players like Ollie Lawrence as well. And like you said, Biggs, working with someone like Finn Russell, who you'd be tearing your hair out sometimes just with some of the stuff that happens, but giving him that free rein to play out of structure. And I tell you,
but that's what I mean, Jim. For me, I think Finn has had his best season for Bath that I've seen him play for a long time. And I think that comes with having good coaches around him and maybe saying, okay, well, at this point we need to just put our foot on the gas, or we need Ben Spencer to take over for 2, 3, 4 phases. Whereas with Scotland, he's got the ball in his hands a lot. Do you know what I mean? Whereas he's got somebody there, and he's obviously, that's how they play and that's how they're coached. And it's not just get the ball to Finn and let Finn do something magic. There's a real structure around him, which has been brought in by the coaches. And I think that is bringing the best out of Finn, not just Finn producing moments of brilliance. I think that's bringing the best out of it. I thought he was exceptional on Saturday in terms of his passing game, not overdoing it, challenging the line when the right time. And I think the combination between Ben Spencer and Johan van Graad in terms of moulding him and getting the best out of Finn for the team has been nothing short of exceptional. Like,
Johan van Graad naturally will get the plaudits, right, because he's the front man, he's the coach. You've mentioned Lee Blackett, but you got Richard Blaze.
Lee Blackett.
He was in tears. Is he my age, by the way?
Lee Blackett has had a tough paper round. He's a legend of a bloke, and he's an unbelievable coach. So, yeah, one thing Johan van Graam's done really well is get someone like Lee, who is a visionary, and you've got a player like Finn, and you've got to have a balance to your game as well. So the coaches that he's putting underneath him, and you're going to mention...
Well, that's what I was going to mention.
Richard Blaze banter.
Well, Richard Blaze for the line-out. Stevie Scott as well. Stevie Scott was one of my coaches when I was at Scotland, who's involved with the forwards as well.
And another one that no one's really talked about, JP Pereira, defensive coach. Their defence, they've always had this ability to attack, and it looks great, but their defence this year, stats don't lie. Best defence in the comp, you win it. So JP Ferreira needs a shout out as well.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's undeniable. Like, you look at Bath all this season, right team won. In the lead up, I had Leicester down for 2 because there's a natural bias. I wanted Leicester to win, of course. My best mate coaches the team. It gave me everything. But when you watched...
I ain't coaching the team.
My best man, best mate.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Sky Sports. on now.
The British and Irish Lions are down under for the tour, and I'm pretty excited to see how it's going to unfold, Jim.
Oh, yeah, me too. I'll be glued to Sky Sports, as it's the only place to watch every thrilling moment. Andrew, who are you most looking forward to seeing?
Oh, it's got to be Finn Russell, my favourite fly half, my favourite player, now champion of England as well. Finn Russell's the man. What about you, Jim?
I'm interested to see if Henry Pollard, at the age of 20, could make the Test match side.
There we go. And what are your predictions?
Predictions 2-1, I reckon. Lions first, Australia second in Melbourne in front of 100,000 people, and it's a straight shootout in the third.
However the Lions get on, it's going to be very hard to take your eyes off the action. So make sure you catch all 3 tests and all 6 warm-up games live from the 20th of June to the 2nd of August on Sky Sports.
And by streaming Sky Sports with Now, you can add and remove membership whenever you like.
Nice! Watch every match on Sky Sports, available to stream live with Now. 18 plus, UK only. Minimum speed 2.5 megabytes per second. Live scheduling may be subject to change, and full terms apply.
Well, on to the URC final then. It was a bit of a whitewash, wasn't it, in the end?
As one-sided as one would not hope for.
Yeah.
When it comes to a final, unfortunately. And that was the worry, right? The worry was that the Leinster of 3 weeks ago would turn up. We thought that would be the case.
I wasn't worried about that. I thought Bulls were going to come and really give them a go.
You got to remember, the Bulls travelling away from home, and the Bulls playing at Pretoria and Loftus Versfeld, and they missed Hanekom. You know, there's a few that they missed. And Jake White said it afterwards, didn't they? You thought they were going to come and give them a good test. Jake White said, I want rain. Rain came, and Leinster were just dominant. And it was great to see. Listen, Leinster, they've got the monkey off their back. You know, it was like it was too easy, wasn't it? Like, it wasn't a great spectacle. I've watched it, and I'm like, Willie LaRue's going around shouting at boys, dropping balls, throwing forward passes, but it's everyone else's fault. But is that a consequence of how the URC works with the travel? You know, not knowing you're in the final till the week before. So, we just got to credit Leinster. Bulls were average at best, but Leinster were clinical. You know, their power game, driving line-outs, they didn't skip a beat by losing Jameson Gibson Park, by, losing Hugo Keenan didn't play as well, did he? And losing Jameson Gibson Park, some people might be like, geez. But, they didn't have Tyke Furlong either. Clarkson played really well in the scrum. And the big thing, we talked last week, didn't we, about the Bulls scrum. Oh, my scrum, what they did to the Sharks. But then Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan and Clarkson did exceptionally well in the scrum, even to the point of got fully on top. And I know the Bulls weren't fully loaded in their pack completely, but it was a dominant Leinster performance and, comfortable victory.
Leinster needed to win that game, didn't they?
Yeah.
The pressure that was on them, the expectation, they were desperate, they were hungry, they were second best to everything, the Bulls. And I think, like I said, Leinster looked like a hungrier team. And when you're playing against a team who are desperate for success and are hungry and are energetic and have got all the energy in the world to be successful with the pressure they're under, I just think you have to play a slightly different way. And I thought the Bulls just played into Leinster's hands in terms of just off nine, just continuously with their forward pack. And in the greasy conditions, Leinster just had so much energy about them, were able to just reload, get back up, make another tackle, get back up, make another tackle. And they almost just got involved in a bit of a standoff and a bit of a cock-off with the Bulls. And it suited Leinster, who were hungrier and had more energy about them. And when you come up against a team like that, you have to find a different way. And that may well be playing a bit more of a kicking game. That may well be turning the ball, playing it in behind, looking for line-outs, looking to pressure them that way. It may well be finding a softer edge or short sides to take. But I just think the Bulls, for the whole game, played the same way off nine and got very little out of it from a Leinster team who, like I said, were just desperate. So I think the Bulls got their tactics wrong, but credit to Leinster, they were
never losing by them. They were never losing that.
No. But also, what other team can leave out Keenan, Gibson Park, or not leave out, but not select Keenan, Furlong, and Gibson Park, and then end up being as comfortable as they were?
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. Shout out to Luke McGrath at 9.
Yeah,
no one's even talking about it. He just went. The machine worked, even whether it was him or Gibson Park, and and then you add in Geordie Barrett with a bit of magic. And it came from his try comes from McGrath's kick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then he wins the battle, hacks it on. There's 4 Bulls players lying on the floor, and he's just jogging through. And it was class to see because he's been a revelation coming across here. And I just wonder whether you end of the season going, wish I'd have started him in that semi-final. Because apparently there's a bit of uproar in Leinster around. He was raging that he wasn't starting that semi-final against Saints, and ultimately, we've only won 1 trophy. Could have won 2. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, James.
What did you make of Jake White's comments after the game?
He wanted to say more than what he said. He had a smile on his face the whole time, saying that they're the benchmark, and started going across the team that Leinster have got and the coaching staff, and said they're basically better than most international sides. Mm-hmm. And he's right. And again, the Irish public get uncomfortable or get annoyed or get frustrated when we talk about it on the pod. You look at their team. They're the best club team in the world. On paper, they are the best club team in the world. They're better than the French teams with the depth that they've got and the quality that they've brought in. And then you add a Geordie Barrett, not even talking about R.G. Snyman. You're bringing these players.
was he there off the bench?
But he's one of the best players in the world. He's in the top 2 or 3 locks in the world. Geordie Barrett's probably the best 12 in the world. So, there is, and I have to say it, okay, Leinster have been underwhelming this season because of what they did against Northampton.
In what?
In the fact that they lost to Northampton at home.
That's the only thing, though.
But
because they've dominated the URC League.
Yeah.
Finished comfortably clear. Dominated the seedings in the Champions Cup.
Yeah.
And then they've won game.
But
that's what they're judged on, right?
There you go. So if you were to speak to any Leinster fan, we just come back from Ireland, right?
Yeah.
And
there's a few that have fallen out of love with Leinster.
So there is an expectation when you've got that quality of a team that you beat Northampton at home. Like, that's it. It's as kind of like you have to. And they did have to. They did have to beat Northampton, and they didn't. And you saw that with the semi-final, and you saw the class against the Bulls at the weekend because they were back to that team that played against Harlequins and played against Glasgow and put 50 points on them, right? And that was the disappointment around that final because it wasn't. It was, you saw after 20 minutes, it was like you didn't really need to watch the second half because they were that dominant.
Yeah. We spoke about like the elation and everything that you spoke about with the Bath players, Jim, in terms of like the emotion and the cry and the tears. And to me, it looked like there was a huge amount of relief in that Leinster team. Yeah. It didn't look like pure emotion and pure joy. It felt like a huge amount of relief from the coaches when the camera panned to them in the crowds, to the players, to the trophy lift afterwards. It looked like a huge amount of relief rather than real elation, which I think probably summed up how desperate they were throughout the 80 minutes.
But you know what, Biggs? When you look at Leinster, Ireland, they must feel pressure now. And I'm not trying to pile more pressure onto them because we're going to look forward to the Lions, aren't we? And the backbone of the Lions team will be the Ireland team. But because of the World Cup, because of last year's final, because of the easy, not the easy run, they made it easy for themselves to get a home semi-final and then to lose that. Imagine the mental torture that they must be under. Like, you look at Leo, I've seen a massive shift in the way in which Leo's
a lot. Yeah, he's coming
dictating
out
himself. He's trying to joke. He's trying to he's just different. It just feels like he's different. And if you're bringing in Jacques Nienaber and Geordie Barrett and R.G. Snyman, probably 3 of the most important people in rugby when you're talking about a coaching or a player, the most influential people in rugby in the modern era, which is not easy to do with the quality. But what I do like is the fact that the real value's been put on the URC now. And that's not an easy comp to win, is it, with the teams that are in there, and it's the
it's the first time they've won it since the Saffers came in.
There you go. So there is a lot of work to do, and I know that the URC team and everything they're doing, the social stuff's good, the off-field stuff, the appetite's there, and there's still obviously a few things they need to work on. They've got to work out the travel element. Like, I'd love them to name, instead of having it seeded, to be like, this is where the final is. Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't know. You can't.
I think that's what they should do.
Yeah, I think that they probably will.
And they'll change that. But the other thing is, we're going to talk about the Lions a bit over the next few weeks, but I think it's a damn good thing that Leinster won that game for those 12 Lions boys from Leinster going into camp now with a bit of confidence, because they're going to have such a massive influence across the whole 38-man squad, right? So I think, imagine if they'd lost the final to the Bulls at home in the rain, and then it's like, lads, go meet up the Lions, and you're like, fucking lost another one, lads. So they rocked up. They deserved the win.
A big shout to Leinster.
And it was comfortable, wasn't it? Bulls were underwhelming, but Leinster made them look that way. And there's still cracks there, and there's still question marks or whatever, but it's great to see Leinster lift the trophy.
Yeah, and I should say as well to our Irish friends, Leinster are the benchmark. To quote Jake White, they are the benchmark of how you would want your team to look, the coaches, and the fact that you want them to be in the finals and the expectations there. Like they're a cool team. They've got some of the best players in the world, some of the best coaches, and you have to give them credit for that.
I think that Jake White thing where he's like, look at the players he's got, this, that, and the other. Jake White's basically just saying to the Bulls, I need some players. He said, and he mentioned the word, I'm coming up with academy players. And so are Leinster. There's a few academy players. Tommy O'Brien's come through the academy, Osborne, all that stuff. But they have got the sprinkling of stardust. But Jake White's basically saying it was easy to win it when you've got all the internationals and a few rock stars as well. Can I have some for the Bulls?
Right, lads, I don't want any negativity about there not being players available and it being a pointless game against Argentina.
Why you?
How dare
you? How dare you say that?
Because I knew this is what you're going to come in with, that there's going to be no Irish players there.
When Goodey mentioned, because I hadn't realised that the game was going to be the week after, I don't look that far ahead. And Goodey made out on the podcast that we did the following week that basically half the players wouldn't be playing, which isn't the case. It's only Jamie George and...
Jamie George isn't in the initial squad.
No, I know, but it's only him who got called up.
Yeah, and Asher
for sure.
Yeah.
That was it. You made it out as if, like, I don't know, I was going to name someone who shouldn't have been in there. Jeffrey Bungle. You made out like Jeffrey Bungle was getting called up. That's what it felt like.
That's what they were going to say.
So I'm like, you can't devalue the jersey again just because I never went.
That's what was going to happen, right? Because obviously 12 Leinster players have gone into camp today. 2 lads from Bath, in Will Stewart and Finn Russell. I don't think there's any more, is there? No. And then Ollie Chesham. So 15 players have gone in today, but you've also said you can't play a final one week and then play an international the next.
I still
where
believe in
are you
that,
going
but now it's finished and the weekend was what we got with the energy and everything. I'm pumped for the game.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be wicked. And Argentina are a proper outfit. They've beaten every top tier international now over the last year. They've beaten New Zealand, they've beaten Australia, they've beaten South Africa. So they've beaten, first time they've ever beaten the top 3 in the Southern Hemisphere in one season.
So did they beat England this year? Was that last year?
No, they haven't beaten England for a while, actually.
Yeah.
No, but they've now beaten every team, but it's the first year that Argentina have beaten Australia, South Africa and New Zealand in one season. So they're going to be a proper challenge. But yeah, I mean, the build-up now, and do I think it's right that it's a test match? No, I don't. I don't think you should have a test match and award test caps for the opening game.
We played Japan before we went to South Africa 4 years ago, and we didn't get a test cap for it.
But do they say it's a test match? Surely it's got to be a test match.
There was some confusion. We were talking to Bernard Chapman. He said it might be a test cap.
We didn't get a test cap for it. You're not a test lion as such in inverted
I would have played in that game. I would have been happy.
But it'll be wicked. I don't expect any of the lads that have played in the finals to start. But it's what it is. It's an opportunity for a lot of basically Irish fans and some English and some Scots and Welsh to fly over and see the Lions in action before. Because not everyone is going to go to Australia and be able to afford travel and all that stuff. Because it is a massive commitment. But and it's also paying dues to a lot of sponsors and all that stuff, and people that are putting money into the tour for various different reasons. So, but actually, the game Friday night, it's going to be a strong team, and the question the Argentina team, because a lot of their boys are out in France. Basically, you have none of the Toulouse lads that are playing for Argentina. So I don't know how.
Do you want the honest answer, Rob, or not? Are we? How
no,
are we
I
going
want
with
positivity. I've said this.
Yeah, but there's a fine line between being honest and
it's
being
not going to be the full
isn't
Argentina team, so it's going to be a walkover. What, Jim?
Yeah, it's good that we get a Northern Hemisphere game. It starts that build-up. It'd be interesting to see Andy Farrell's team. Does he pick man of the moment, Henry Pollock? I imagine Finn Smith probably starts at 10. It'd be cool to see him in the red jersey. Do we get to see Sione Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones? Is he fit? Yeah,
I think they'll go for a few combinations on Friday night. I think they'll probably go Mitchell and Finn Smith. I think they may go Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones together if they're fit. I think they'll try as much as they can. I think they may go for a few combinations, just because you know what you both know what it's like. It's almost like that first pre-season game where nobody's played together, still learning a little bit of systems, and sometimes you just want a little bit of familiarity certainly in key positions, and probably from that 9, 10, 12, 13 centre partnership that will give them a really strong backbone to knowing at least the 9 knowing what the 10 is going to do, the 10 knowing what the 9 is going to do, and vice versa for the 12 and 13. So I think they'll go combinations, but I think it'd be great. It's just exciting that it's starting now, isn't it?
After all that, and it is interesting that the combinations thing, because there'll be a lot of mistakes. Like that's, I think, just because of the way it unfolds, it's not easy. And I say this, having played for the Barbars, is very different when you're absolutely smashed for 3 days. But you know, when you go into that setup, like it must be hard with the timing and stuff like that. Even though if you're off the back of a season, I'm just trying to work it out. Like a hooker with a throw, I'm going very superficial and fucking old school when I talk about it. But being at a 10 in that position, if you've got, I know you mentioned about the combination, but if you're playing with a Sione and a Hugh Jones outside you, but you Finn Smith and you try to do a crossfield kick to Mac Hansen and you haven't got that feel of where he's going to land.
That's why I think it's important that there's an extra game Friday night before just going to the first match in Perth in a week's time. I think it's great there's an extra game to try combination, because the bottom line is the Lions need as much match practice and as much time on the field and as much time together as possible. So this match on Friday gives them a really good example to try some combinations and just understand, you know, for argument's sake, for a Finn Smith, understanding how Sione Tuipulotu or Hugh Jones likes the ball.
Yeah, and it's interesting with Australia, they've only got one game to build up, haven't they? Against Fiji. I mean,
who wants to play Fiji as a warm-up game?
Fiji. No one. Your man. So that was interesting. Then also, what's cool as well is that Joseph Suaalii said he's fit, and if he looked fit to me. Yeah. He looked fit to me. I'll tell you that. Which again, the build up to the tour has been around who's going to be picked for the Lions, who's going to play, getting down to Australia, and is Joseph Suaalii fit? And he is. It's going to be wicked. Biggs, you're going down. What are you commentating, or are you in
I am. I'm
studio?
Commentating for Sky Sports.
Commentating or studio?
Commentating. Yeah. So I'm out there from the Brisbane game, the Reds game.
Nice.
So there for the whole tour.
Make sure you get stuck into the refs.
Who are you on comms with, out of interest? Because they released the talent.
Yeah, with Rog and Miles Harrison.
Nice.
Hang on. So for the test matches, you are on like commentary. So the two commentary
comms. Yeah.
So they got Rog commentating. I know he got released, but you didn't know whether he was going to be the Eddie Jones token gesture.
Yeah.
At the side of the pitch.
Doing like. So he's doing comms as well. So it'd be good. So out there
cool.
with Rog. Yeah. For the majority of the trip, which will be good.
No one can understand Rog. It's fine. Don't worry.
Are you drinking boots, Biggs? Because Rog ain't scared of a red wine or 10.
Well, I was going to say I'm taking the family Goodey as well, so it's a bit of an experience. So it's kind of,
you've got that to fall back on.
It's one of those where it's I've got that to fall back on if needed. But should be good. Really looking forward to it. Fly out a week Sunday, so 5 weeks out there, and then. Really exciting because like I said, it's great to be sort of boots on the ground and seeing how the Lions are training and the interactions, etc.
Oh, you get much access and stuff.
I think so. Yeah, I think there'll be a fair, obviously with Sky Sports doing it, the whole thing. I think they've got a fair amount of access and bits and pieces, so we can get have a bit of a laugh with a few of the lads as well.
And, cool.
And bits and pieces.
I'm so jealous. Yeah, because we went after I retired, so to the New Zealand one. I was like, can't be bothered to go really. I'm all rugbyed out, and I went there, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. And it was it just showed how epic the Lions tours are. And this, I suppose, giving a big shout out to any of the Lions fans that are travelling, like you're in for a hell of an experience because Australia is a beautiful country as well, right? Loads to do. And
I'm going to give producer Rob a bit of moral support. I think.
Are you going to do any of the run Biggs or not? Can you run?
I'm not. I said moral support.
Just take a motorbike or a Vespa or something and have ice creams on it and say, "Come on, Rob, come on, boy."
Can we just say this? So, Rob, let's work this out. So, me and Goodey, we're not going yet. Yeah. How are you going? Where are you staying?
Camper vans.
Yeah. In the arse end of nowhere.
How long are you going for? 4 days or something?
Yeah, like 7 days or something.
To do the run?
To do the run that I'm coming straight back.
Do you know what jet lag is or not? Do you know what that is?
Who's he?
Yeah.
He's mongrel mob, mate. He doesn't worry about that
I don't know.
stuff.
He's getting too comfortable now. He's got cord hats on. I saw he's got another new pair of shoes. You're too comfortable, Rob. You are. Get out there and bloody get on the tools. Yeah.
They look like they've had a good week, the Lions, though, don't they? Out in Portugal, a bit of sun on their backs, and
Content's been
like
great.
Week.
Yeah. Some of the imagery and stuff like that that's come out, they've leveled up. I tell you now, let me just be a negative, and it's because I've got kids. I don't like teddy bears. They need to get rid of that teddy bear.
Tradition, James.
I know. I'm a traditionalist.
Right, so imagine you're in the squad.
Yeah.
Right. And this is you down to a T, right? So Henry Pollard has got to carry and take, it's not a teddy bear, it's Bill,
All right.
the lion, around with him everywhere. But the challenge is from all the lads to Judas him to get it off him.
Yeah.
So he gets stung. And so you'd be at the centre of that, though.
No,
You'd be the arsehole trying to
Scotland, mate.
breaking into his room, trying to steal it when he's asleep and all that stuff. You would.
With everything. Biggs, tell me I'm wrong. Just you don't need to go into detail. I'm looking at it now. I'm thinking like of where we are as a sport. I'm seeing images of Bundy Aki looking fucking unbelievable, and then you see a lion teddy bear. I'm just like, not cool.
I have to say, I do like. I think I'm like Goodey on this one. Sorry, Jay. I like the tradition of the youngest guy carrying it on tour and
earn your stripes.
representing
Yeah,
that.
you're right. All right, I'm easy manipulated. I love the lion. All right, I love the. What's your name? Leo.
Bill.
Bill the banter.
It's Bill.
Bill the banter. Well, with all the excitement, I am absolutely pumped. If you're feeling the passion, make sure you watch every match live on Sky Sports, available to stream on Now. 18 plus UK only, minimum speed 2.5 megabytes, live, scheduling may be subject to change, full terms apply.
Nice one. Well, you mentioned it there, Biggs, you're going to be there, and you're doing a live show, aren't you?
We're doing a live show 30th of July, I think it is, with the great Sean Maloney in Cheers Bar in Sydney. It's meant to be a cracking venue. Haven't been before, but first time for it. So get yourself in for that. There's only a few tickets are remaining.
It's quite an intimate venue, isn't it? Yeah, so get your tickets as soon as you can. And then on the 1st of August, so the Friday night before the final test, there's another live show with friend of the pod, Andy Powell.
Oh, God.
I know, yeah. Do you know what you're getting yourself in for there, Biggs?
Well, I'm not in that one. I'm not on that one, I don't think. I'm just on the third.
He said no
Yeah,
because it's
trust me. I've seen where it is, who's doing it, and I've maybe taken a step back on that one.
You with the family that night?
Yeah. Family. There's something on with the family that night. Yeah.
So it's Andy Powell, Shane Byrne, and Sean Maloney in what's meant to be one of the loosest pubs in Sydney called Scruffy Murphy's. You heard of it, Goody?
No.
Well, you can get tickets for both now on ticketpass.org. Just search for the Rugby Pod.
Right, lads, there is some other news.
There's a bit of news, Jim.
In other news, that's right.
Also known as...
In other news.
In other news.
That is right. Correctamundo.
Where are we starting?
Let's go with the influencer that is Rob Rogan. Red Bull. You called it. You
Told you, didn't I?
You did. And
I sold it to them.
You sold it to them. So for the context, Red Bull have now bought into Newcastle. We don't know the full details.
Has it been announced officially yet?
Well, I announced it on social media.
I know, didn't we all? But it's like there's nothing come out of Newcastle Falcons yet.
Oh, interesting.
It will happen, I'm pretty sure.
Rob, give us the details. What's it saying in the Stockton Sun or the Stockton News or whatever?
Cheap. It basically said cheap.
Well, I'm hearing 2 million. That's not cheap. I know it's cheap for a rugby team. Is that for a year? What are you hearing? Come on, hit us.
I've heard that they've just bought it. So they bought it. It was up for sale for £1, as far as I was aware, and they've bought it. They've taken on the debt. Which is the main thing, was about £30 million worth of debt, which will be, I think half of that was to the government for the COVID loans and the other half was to Seymour Curdy and the Thompsons and other loans and stuff.
Yeah.
Look at you, Rob. Go on,
mate,
keep going.
Has the Thompsons gone now?
I believe so.
I'm telling you now, that's a good thing for the club.
I've heard that as well. Keep going, Rob. What else?
And the talk of them moving away from Kingston Park and moving to Darlington, that's not happening. So they are going to stay in Newcastle and they're going to stay at Kingston Park.
Yeah.
Right. And the rebuild, it's coming, lads. We're coming back for the Prem.
Got no players, but it's fine. We'll get them.
It doesn't matter, we'll get them.
Well, you sold it, didn't you, when you talked about it? And you went, well, it's cheap. And they listened to the podcast. And they went, if Rob says it's cheap. Yeah.
Here's one then for you. So, dream signing, you can't say Anton Dupont. Dream attainable signing. So, if you could get one player there that you think, right, we could get him there somehow. So, for example, Finn Russell's out of contract, right? So, next year. Is it ridiculous that you couldn't see a Finn Russell, for example, cashing in, getting closer to home, the Red Bull Newcastle team? You know where I'm going. You could.
I mean, because of the Red Bull brand, everything they've ever done is cool, isn't it? Like the way they turned that F1, they bought Jaguar, didn't they? When that was doing nothing, they turned that round. The football clubs, everything they do is cool. So they're not just going to come in, clear the debt, and then be like, there you are, lads. Same team as last year.
They're not bringing Dan Cole out of retirement thinking you're our guy.
What about the R360 though? They're going to lose. I mean, they're not. But carry on.
So the rumours are, I mean, I don't know if it has been confirmed, but we've just confirmed it in other news, so we're doubling down on it.
I mean, there's been no report of any signings yet. There's no talk of transfers or anything like that. But, I mean, they're going to make some big signings, aren't they, just to build a bit of buzz. You know, you can see if Finn Russell come in, you know, because the salary cap, they can't go in and spend millions and millions. Everyone has the same cap. So
I had Dean Schofield messaging me at the weekend. Who was he with in Manchester?
Ryan Giggs.
No. Close. Steve Diamond. And he's like, Dimes wants you. He's like, 600 bags a year, turn up when you want, talk about culture, off we go.
This is a good way for me, if we go on the conversations last week and these franchising investment, and it might feel a bit gimmicky to some people because it's Red Bull, but you nailed it on the head there. Anything Red Bull have got involved in, and they've been circling the game for a while, doing some stuff in sevens. They've got some ambassadors in Mac Hansen, Jack Noel, Sia Khaleesi.
Well, there's your three signings. There's your three signings.
That'd be all right, yeah.
So I thought you were going to say an attainable signing would be...
Bit cold for Sia up north.
Sia Khaleesi.
Yeah.
I would love to see that, though, them bring all those players back that we have lost. Bring those players back and then add in a couple of massive South Africans, and I think we'll be all right.
I think they should be... Whatever the rules, the laws, if you were to open up your hearts and souls, let them go back, let them go home. I just think it'd be really cool to see.
Yeah.
And in other news,
James.
You kept that quiet, didn't you?
Well, he tried to put us off the scent, didn't he? He was like, I think Owen Farrell should go. Best fit is Leicester Tigers, Leicester Tigers, Leicester Tigers. From a man that's on the payroll at Saracens. Waboom! James, what is going on?
I am just creatively advising Saracens because I am good friends with the owners and people there, and I think they're a brilliant club, and I think they are a sleeping giant when it comes to innovation and being a cool brand.
I mean, get over that. Let's talk about the big news. Owen Farrell is back at Sarries, James.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Where do you unpick this? I think there's one part of this, Dan Bigger, and your name come up in this just because you're there now, and without speaking for you, you've gone to Toulon and it probably hasn't unfolded how you hoped it would. I was the same, not that me and you are the same, but the likes of Sia Khaleesi, Eben Etzebeth, Johnny Sexton, like you could list out probably some of the best players in the world that have gone to France, and the transition into that culture, Biggs, as you know, you're sat in France now, has been tough. And I tell you what, if Owen Farrell's found it tough with his mindset, then it's not an easy place to go. And actually seeing what Jackie said about him and what he said about Sia, like it's not play on when you're talking about two of the greatest players who've done it.
Also, as well, Jim, as well, you when you are a Sia Khaleesi, Owen Farrell type name, and you don't, you get injured. That's the big thing in France. If you get yourself, basically, if you're unavailable for selection, that's almost worse than if you're out there and not playing particularly well. And I think obviously Owen's missed a lot of the season through injury, and that has probably riled them, knowing that, let's call it as it is. He's not picking up minimum wage in Paris, is he? Do you know what I mean? He's on big money. And the owner is probably thinking, well, I'm paying this guy a load of money and he's not even available to be on the pitch for us. And that's what happens. And that's similar to what happened to me when I got injured after the World Cup. It was like basically shock news. A rugby player is injured. Doesn't matter if you're the highest earner of the club or the lowest earner.
Are you, Biggs? Are you?
Well, no, I'm just saying.
I announced it. Well done. Good man. I was
talking about Owen.
Oh, right.
Owen. But do you know what I mean? It's like shock news. A rugby player is injured.
Yeah.
And like for me, it's just like they don't understand that. Especially here, the emotion is overriding emotion in that it's, let's just say what we're feeling at the time because we're disappointed because our star signing isn't out on the field and playing, rather than, okay, let's look at things practically and say, okay, well, we've got a guy who's 33 or whatever he is, played a lot of rugby, picked up an injury. Let's get him right so that we look after him as best as we can, rather than bag him in the press and hope that has a response. So I think for me, they don't. And the bottom line is, I think Owen will probably, I'm not sure if it's 100%. Is it 100% done?
100%.
Yeah, it's done.
100% done. Well,
but like the thing in France, and it happened to me. So for the first 18 months when I was in France, we had one head coach and we got on really well, and I got picked for England again, all this stuff, and the club were loving it that they had an England international playing for Brive, and then I go away for the autumn internationals. He gets sacked. The head coach gets sacked. Different head coach comes in. He's like, your third choice, mate, and tries to get you out of the club. But that's France, right? How they treat players. So for Faz, he's been exceptionally well looked after at Sarries and England, and rightly so, because he's one of England's greatest ever players and Sarries' greatest ever players. And he's been well looked after, hasn't had to go and play the Newcastles away that you did, Jim. And do you know what I mean? Like, he ain't going to some of the tougher games. They're pinpointing games for him. You go to France, they want their pound of flesh. They're paying you very well. And it's just so happened that he's got injured this year, which is tough. But bottom line is, it's great to see him back in the Prem.
Well, that's the big thing about it. And for Saracens and England as well, and the Prem.
I was just about to say, Jim, does he come? He comes straight back into that England reckoning now. I'm assuming, does he?
A player of his quality, he's been out for a year, and like we've just alluded to with the injury, you could never count someone like that out. You think of Johnny Sexton's career and the influence that he had on Ireland, albeit maybe a year too long in the saddle. But Owen's 33? He gets himself fit, and is maybe that year away in France has been a humbler. And sometimes it takes that. Everything's been on the upward trajectory for Owen. He's been the king. He's been the alpha. And maybe something like that brings him back and lets him understand actually how important the club and playing for England and all of these things were. And yeah.
Last bit of big news this week then, and this is probably the biggest bit of news I've seen. The Prem, it's gone through a rebrand. It's groundbreaking. Have you seen this?
Go.
Premiership Rugby will now be known as the Prem.
Well, blow me down. Well, blow me down in a Colombian forest is all I'm saying.
So,
what happens in a Colombian forest?
Well, I'm just looking at Ben's t-shirt. What happens in a Colombian forest? Hey, it's as pure as the sun is on your back.
Yeah, it's now called the Prem.
Did you see the comments, though, that they came out and said?
No.
So they said that the research showed physicality was a key part of the appeal of rugby. So basically, they're going old school. They're going to start showing the hits, stuff like that. So it's going to...
And who was...
It might have been you, I think it might
when,
have been.
When? In 1995?
10 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, so carry on. What else they said? So basically what you're saying is because of people want physicality, we've changed it from the Premiership
to the Prem.
They're calling it the Prem. That's how people call it. That's so the dinosaurs call it the Premiership, and they're trying. That's what they're doing.
Do people not just call it the Prem anyway, though? Like everyone I speak to says, did you watch the Prem on the
but the
weekend?
embarrassing thing is, and embarrassing might be the wrong word, I don't want to be too harsh. I'm meeting them next week. Got them on the show, on the Big Jim show. But the thing is around it is that they're making a thing out of it. And it's this big rebrand. So even at the weekend at the final, I saw some images in the back where it was Gallagher Prem. And there was this...
They've been listening to the podcast because we call it the Prem, basically.
Whatever it is, yeah. Whatever it is.
There we go.
But it's they're trying, look, and we can't... On one hand, we can't say they need to do this, they need to do that, we need to innovate, we need to do this, we do need to do that, and then every time they do something, we're just taking the piss every time. Like, it's just
don't get a fucking... don't get an electric guitar for some geezer from Eurovision.
Forget the worst
anthem. Our national anthem.
The worst anthem, right? And I'm British, okay? So I do, and I would sing the anthem.
You've sang it loud and proud with an England jersey on.
British.
No, with an England jersey on.
I loved the guitar. I'd like to play it.
And here are your forwards. And there's like half the backs written out as well.
Ding, 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 ding. Oh, that sounds like it's the Sevens down here. Ding, 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 ding.
All right, lads, should we finish things off with the good, the bad and the ugly, brought to you by...
Oh, is it back?
Maul and Brawl's back.
Oh, have I got a sponsor for my segment, James?
Yes, you have. Yes,
Maul and
you have.
Yes.
Yeah, you have. You are...
Beck's back on the tools.
Yeah, she broke her finger.
How?
Playing netball. She broke her finger, so she's been off, but we are back. Maul and Brawl is back. We are back, baby. It's been in storage, not outdoors, indoors, to keep the temperature of the dark honey and tobacco. See, I still remember that dark honey and tobacco. And actually, I've been smelling good recently, haven't I, Andrew?
Yes.
Okay, what is it?
Well, it's Maul and Goo.
It's Maul and Goo. Here we go.
I'm still waiting for some. I mean, a lot of it's based on my scent, but it's...
Well, actually, Isaac doesn't know yet, but part of his job for the Lions and the social stuff is he's going to be packing it, because I'm in America for the summer, so he's getting on the tools as well. So, maulandbrawl.com if you want to get your shower gel and you want to get your shampoo. We're all out of moisturiser. It's gone off. Beard oil as well.
Bum beard oil, as well.
Yeah, but I've tried that and it's fine, but it's gone off, but we're not selling that. But the shower gel and the shampoo, also known as shampoo, is available on maulandbrawl.com. It's going to be sent with love, and here
we go.
A bit of beard hair in there as well if you request for an extra pound. But there you go.
Any hair dust for you? No,
not yet. We're looking at different. I'm trying different products at the minute. I'm like with the animals that they used to try stuff on. I'm not doing that because I love animals.
Do it on your teeth.
Do it on my teeth. Do it on the bottom.
What
of my
about
feet.
Moorland Goo toothpaste, whitening toothpaste?
No,
You've not been trying that fucker, have you? Let's be honest. Here we go. Start off with the Goo then. Plenty of Goo. Let's start off in Super Rugby. The Crusaders and the Chiefs both won their semi-finals to make the final. But the good news is it's now at the Crusaders, the final, because they have got top seeds because the Chiefs lost their qualifying final a couple of weeks ago. I mean, what a shambles the way that's turned out. But congrats to the Crusaders and the Chiefs on getting to the final. What else was good? Bayonne over in the top 14, Biggs. Bayonne get a shout out. They beat Clermont to go through to the top 14 semi-finals this weekend, where they're going to be playing Toulouse, which will be very difficult. They got promoted back in 2022. So in a few years, they've gone from promotion, signing a good few boys. There's hope for you yet. Rob.
Is that where Manu is?
Yeah, but he's injured. He didn't play at the weekend.
Right, okay.
Popped his rib, yeah.
So, but yeah, anyway, they had a good win in some shocking weather over Clermont. So they go through to the semis this week. So big shout out to Bayonne. Also over in France, Perpignan get a shout in the good, and Tommy Allen. Do you know why, Jim?
No, but I know that Pasola was playing. Tuolangi's back, isn't it? Tell me about Tommy Allen.
Tommy Allen kicked a penalty on the 77th minute.
Did they win it?
To beat Grenoble at Grenoble to stay in the top 14 in the access match. The access match, yeah. So big shout out. And Perry Freshwater, our old teammate at Perpignan as well.
Still playing?
No, he's coaching.
Did you see the kick, Goodey, as well?
I did, yeah. Good slot, wasn't it? Good nudge.
Very good kick. Under some pressure there as well.
Yeah, it was. And I'm going to come back to that game in a bit. So big shout out to Perpignan and Tommy Allen, or Tommaso Allen. What's his name now? Is it Tommaso? Is it Tommy? He changed it a few times.
French.
Thomas.
That was all good. Leinster get a shout in the good, finally getting the monkey off their back to win the URC in dominant fashion over the Bulls. So big shout out to Leo Collin, all the coaches and all the lads over in Leinster. Good to see them get a trophy lift. Although, another good mention, or a mention in the good, has got to go to James Lowe. Do you see what James Lowe did?
Lifting the top up.
One of my favourite things in the world. Jack Conan. It's been a thing. I said it a couple of years ago about someone else. It was an Ireland one. But there's obviously a little thing going around. Jack Conan was raging. His belly's hanging out. It's ruined the picture. And I zoomed in a few times, and I'm pretty sure it was James Lowe just hoiking the jersey up from the side. So as you've lifted the trophy, your belly's hanging out the bottom. It was one of my biggest fears. But shout out to James Lowe. What else was good? We might as well just get on with it, shall we? Guy Pepper gets a shout in the good. He's part of the winning team, but he's got back-to-back man of the matches in the semi-final and the final at 22 years of age. Bath, can you pay Newcastle the money you owe them for him, though?
Just send him back. Or just have him back.
Exactly. It's easy.
Yeah.
Red Bull Falcons, whatever they're going to be called. But Bath get the good this week. They won the Prem final. 29 years in waiting. 1996 was the last time they were crowned English Premiership champions. And the scenes in Bath, fair play, I loved it. Alfie Barbary, I thought he'd be in better nick. I knew he's not in better nick.
That's the booty scoot.
Yeah, with his shoes, socks, walking around in his budgies with a big flag, an afro, great tash. I mean,
I used to spin with his mum.
Yeah, we've said this.
Spin bike, genuinely. Yeah. She said, "Oh, my lad's good at rugby, and you hear it all before. It's like the same as Ollie Lawrence's dad." Yeah. Well, turns out Alfie Barbary.
Yeah, they're both Premiership champions at the minute. So Bath and all the coaches, players and the club, they win the good this week. The bad, few bits of bad. It's just based around two games, really. The Bulls, get to mention the bad. Very lacklustre in their performance and very average in the final, so we give them a shout in the bad. Leicester kicking the ball away at the end, still not having it. Me and Biggs slightly disagree on it, but I've got to get it in there. Just kicking the ball away at the end twice as well when you're trying to chase the game and win it with a few minutes to go. Coley gets a shout out in the bad. Not for him, for Carl Dixon for giving him a yellow card. It's never a yellow card, Dicko, but it is a penalty. And Coley shouldn't have put himself in the position. But unfortunately, the bad this week is going to go to Michael Checker for his rant about the refs.
And can I?
That's why Czechs wins the bad. And then the ugly. Only one bit of ugly I could find this weekend. It's not players. It's fans. Some ugly scenes, and Biggs, you might have seen this, over in Grenoble. So the access game between Grenoble and Perpignan, basically whoever wins stays in the top 14, or if Grenoble won, they'd have got promoted to the top 14. Perpignan won. Grenoble fans on the field, Perpignan fans on scrappy nappy. The riot police were there.
Here we go. It's like Matson's and Long Levens in Gloucester. I don't know if you saw that the other week. Proper scrappy.
Oh, yeah, I did, yeah. So the riot police had to be on the field, separating the fans. Scraps on the pitch after the game, ugly scenes, no need for it. Both Grenoble and Perpignan fans hang your heads in shame. That's why they win the ugly this week. French.
So French. But anyone smoking or not?
Oh, probably,
yeah. Smoking.
Yeah, 100%.
Couple of shout-outs to finish, lads.
Yeah, we got a few. Do you want me to do this one? Oh, you do this one.
Can I do this one?
Yeah, start?
Have you seen we've got a new WhatsApp group?
I do, because I'm on it.
Oh, yeah, trying to make it work. Didn't work. What's happening?
We've not turned on our notifications.
That's why you've got
it's
to
working
turn the
now, trust me, I'll show you.
Is it?
Yeah. So we've got a new WhatsApp group. It's basically like being in our work WhatsApp group, but...
No, because
can we control what James Hamilton puts on this, please? Because he sends some horrendous things to me.
How funny is some of the AI stuff that I put on the group chat? It's
puts videos of Donald Trump necking on with Vladimir Putin.
And there was one where I don't even want to say it was Kanye West come riding on this horse. It was some of the, anyway. I've got too much time on my hands. I've got 4 kids.
So if you want banter like that, come and join our WhatsApp group. The link is on our Instagram bio. I'll make sure Ben puts it on the story as well tomorrow. So.
Right, who's uploading it genuinely? Because I want accountability. Are you? It's Rob.
Isaac.
It best be good. Don't blame a faceless man in the studio.
I'm happy to upload.
I put that Newcastle news straight in there the other day.
Can we all have access so we can just say what we want?
Yeah, unfiltered.
Or is it protected?
Okay, cool. Then I'm up for it. Then I'll keep pushing the WhatsApp chat. If I can push the notification to go out, it's going.
There we go.
Shout out to Yorkshire Rugby, who again have won both men's and women's teams at Allianz Stadium, Twickenham, in the county championship finals on Saturday, the 21st of June.
Proper county.
Yorkshire. Shout out, sticking in and around Yorkshire. Where's Donny? Donny's Yorkshire, isn't it?
Is it like West Yorkshire? I don't know.
Sheffield more.
The south,
that's Yorkshire, surely. Anyway, shout out to Doncaster Knights under-18 Colts, who are going on their final hurrah with their lads and dads trip to the England A versus France A game on Saturday at Allianz Stadium. Jack, Tom and Sam have played from the under-6s right through to the under-18s. They've seen it all. Donny.
We were with Mike Haley on Friday night.
We were, yeah.
He didn't play for Donny, did he? He's from up that neck.
Well, Sale. Somewhere.
Yeah, maybe we'll just say Donny. Might have been Darlington. No, it's Preston Grasshoppers. Anyway, right. So for this week, over a day and a half, 92 men and women are coming together to raise over £100,000 for Looseheads, Wooden Spoon, and the Lions Trust by aiming to break the record for the longest games of ruggers. Lee Hannah-Murrah and Yvonne Tunn from Cayley Midlands Referee Society will be heavily involved.
Finally, we've got a sad one, and it's come from Robert Taylor's son-in-law, as Robert is currently undergoing cancer treatment and he's having to isolate this week. He's a veteran, having played for the Army rugby team. He's a massive England rugby fan as well, and a big fan of the pod. So, Robert, we're thinking of you. I know isolation will be very tough, but hopefully you get the cancer treatment that you need and you come out the other side, buddy.
Yeah, big shout out, mate.
Good luck, Robert.
Cheers, boys.
Well,
thanks, Rob. Thanks, James.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, hell of a season. But it's not over.
It's not over. It's not over.
We keep rolling, are we, Rob?
All the way through.
Week to week to
all
week.
All the way through.
All the way through.
To when? Was it all the way through to what?
4th of August will be our last one. Well, then we have a few weeks off, get on a holiday. And then the Prem starts, and the URC.
Nice.
We'll start again late September.
We should say that then, that we are carrying on, because people might think that that's it.
That ain't it.
No. That ain't it.
We're still going week to week. We'll be in your ears every Tuesday.
Who needs a summer holiday, like?
Well, you did at the weekend. You went to a camper van. That's your summer holiday up north.
And a stag did the week before.
He's going to America for 3 or 4 weeks. That's a proper holiday.
There we go.
Yeah, Rob, you've had enough holidays.
Hang on.
Biggs lives on holiday in the south of France.
This is the bloke who has about 8 holidays a year.
I haven't had a holiday in a couple of weeks, lads.
I'm not having this. Cheers, lads.
Right, thank you to everyone. You know, the drill as always. If you haven't already, subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, all the socials. But I'll say it again, the main one, because we're here in the studio. Feels good. WhatsApp, that's the one.
Yeah.
And
Spotify.
Oh boy, Rugby Spot.
Spotify, pod.